Hello everyone, I am Amit Danayat, Chief Editor and Founder ANA Digest. Welcome to the 7th episode of the ANA Digest Mighty Mind series. In today's episode titled Snakes and Ladders, we have with us a talented group of architects and interior designers who are at various stages of their design journeys. Some of them have been practicing for more than 2 decades, some for more than 15 years, and some for more than 12 years. In this episode, they have candidly shared their experiences, their strengths and weaknesses, the correct choices, the wrong choices they made throughout their design journey. Of course, again, this series is not about design skills. It's a given that all these are brilliant designers. That is why they are successful in their design careers. We have with us in this episode architects Sushil Kocheta, Ashish Kulkarni, Manish Shah, Vishal Bam, Milind Maitre, and interior designers Kushal Shah, Milind Chingre, Atulya Patwardhan, and Abhijit Raizoni. Happy weaving. Very good evening, friends. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to be part of the ANA Digest Mighty Minds. Thank you so much. Let's begin the evening with Manish. Manish, tell me one thing. See, you all are considerably successful in your careers, in your profession. How do you keep yourself grounded? How do you remain down to earth? Especially when clients appreciate your work, your friends, relatives, families admire you, your juniors look up to you. How do you remain grounded?
Well, uh, it definitely feels good when you are praised by your friends, family, or colleagues or clients. So I always feel that sky is the limit in this particular profession. So whatever is the success I achieve, I feel that there is still space to go ahead, and I always concentrate more on the future rather than being in the past, and it keeps me grounded.
Okay, so you have the sky as a bar set, so
Yeah.
you always feel that there's much
Yeah,
more to
it's
achieve.
something to do.
And that keeps you down, grounded.
Right.
Interesting, yeah. Kushal?
I think after success of every project, there are two sides. One is the appreciation, the good things, and the other side is the learnings and the takeaways. So I always have tried that after success of any project, when we come back to our table the next day, we generally try to keep an eye on what wrong things that we did in the project, what we wanted to do, but we didn't do in that way. Basically, that always keeps us realize that we have a long run to chase, and we have to work hard each and every day. So that helps to keep us grounded.
That's how you remain down to earth.
Yeah.
Okay. Ashish?
As Kushal rightly said, it's the same thing. Whenever after completion of the site, whenever you are visiting the site or anybody is appreciating your work, appreciation is definitely should be there, and it helps you to boost yourself somewhere. Uh, but learning and takeaways is the main thing, that what you can just change in the project and make it little better. There is always scope for improvement, and if you are looking at that, it will definitely keep you grounded, and the same thing happens with me.
Atulya?
Yeah, once you finish the project, you get appreciation, you publish it somewhere. But even after that, once you review that project, you understand that you made few mistakes. I mean, they might be little small errors from your side, but then you review it, and next time you would want not to do not to repeat those mistakes. So once you know that okay, you have done it properly, but okay, there were few things which went little wrong. So that way you stay grounded. So next time you can always there is a scope for improvement.
Just a rider question. I couldn't help asking this. At this stage of your career, where you achieved so much, does your confidence take a beating when a client doesn't approve your design at the first go and keeps suggesting changes?
Yeah, many time it happens. Like you make many options, but they have certain things in their mind, so they suggest few things, and somehow you have to accept it. and you mold your design accordingly. You make certain changes accordingly, and you create good output after that.
Sushil, the same question to you. How do you keep yourself grounded after such a huge body of work?
Actually, it's a continuous process. When I think about my first project, even today, I feel that I could have done it even better. So there is still something more to come. So you have to be grounded, and you have to always think that something new is going to come. So
Vishal, the same question to you.
The same thing means what we want to do, we have achieved that, but some things we have missed out, or some client requirements are there that we are not able to achieve them. So we try and understand how that solution can be done and how it can be incorporated in our next design. So it helps us to improve. And even if we think now this was the best what we have done, but there are some benchmarks set by legends, what we call them in our field, means Le Corbusier or Charles Correa, we say. So we can see at them and we say, "Yeah, what have they done? We have to still be there. This is best. This is our best, but we have to improve. We have to go ahead with something much more, and we have to go ahead, and there are lots of learning which can add up, and it adds to our experience."
Whom do you admire? Indian, international, alive, dead? Which architect do you're starstruck with?
B.V. Doshi sir, Charles Correa sir, I admire their work the most. Le Corbusier sir. They worked on the principles and they followed their principles what they worked on, and they had some different style which they stuck to their style. You find some similarity in all their projects, so that's the great thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Milind, the same question goes to you.
When our project get appreciation, I feel like it's not the only you who is getting appreciated. You should always understand there is a lot of procedure going on it. You have to give the appreciation to all your teams, vendors who are working for parallelly for you day and night for the project. So what I feel, when you get appreciated, you shouldn't feel like it's for only you, and it's for your complete team. So that way it will not go in your head, and it will keep grounded. So basically, whenever any admired or project is admired, I talk to my teams. I tell them, boss, the project was too good, but it was our teamwork, and it was not only me who has done this.
Abhijit?
Yeah, I would begin it with a quote: "Life is a learning process," and whenever a site is appreciated by a client, I feel that not me myself, but he is appreciated because we are worth it. And if in terms of relatives appreciating it, that they are the good blessings with us. Friends appreciating it is their good wishes with us. And when my juniors appreciated it, I tell them it's a teamwork. That's all.
Second question will go to Vishal. Vishal, what is success to you in intangible terms? Tangible success is money, big house, riches, big home, fancy cars, world tour.
Right.
But intangible success, what is that to you?
Intangible success for me is that in our profession which we are working, right, means the thing which I said earlier also, setting a benchmark is important. Means we should be recognized with our work and what we have done. That is a very important thing. Means someone is following your style, or rather we are seeing someone as our legends and we are following them. That is the success, and I think it's very difficult to achieve that. We have to keep on doing things differently. We want to keep on improving ourselves and do whatever nice we can do in that thing. That is the success.
Super.
What we
But will you be able to measure it? Will you be able to pat your back? This is what I've achieved.
No, it can be measured because benchmarks are set. There are different benchmarks. There are different things which people set as you can follow those paths also. So it is not, we cannot set those things, but it is individually how they want to set their benchmark and how they want to go ahead with that. And that can be part of the success, that I can feel that I have now achieved that.
I wish you all the success.
Thank you.
Atulya, the same question to you.
Knowingly, unknowingly, you achieve many things actually while doing this work, particularly. In your personal life also, you understand many things, many challenges you face. So, like, there is always improvement. Improvement keeps happening. So that's all. I mean, for me, that is a success.
Okay. Ashish?
Actually, intangible success is I really don't know yet like what I'm dealing with, the tangible success right now. So once I'll get to know, I'll definitely share with you.
Very candid. Sushil.
Same. I mean, at this point, we don't know we are successful. Like, yeah, we have achieved some few things, but being successful is something else. So right now, I really don't know.
Okay, that's being grounded. Kushal.
For me, intangible success is the satisfaction of a client, whatever budget he has invested on you, with whatever requirements and whatever aesthetical sense he's expecting. So after we earn money from every project, but sometimes we lose some satisfaction of the client after the project is done. So I feel once the client is satisfied, that is the biggest success.
So every project can be a success for you, or an intangible success.
We are trying a lot of we are investing a lot of hard work in satisfying our client in whatever requirements they have, basically. So
But have you set, as he said, I've set a bar. So is there anything in your mind that project by project I'll gather my intangible success, but this is where I'll feel I've achieved intangible success in my life?
no.
Okay, it's a continuous process.
It's a continuous process. We are practicing, na? So it's a continuous process.
True. Abhi?
Success is very subjective to each one of us. Success cannot be measured. There is a very thin line between what you want and what are your needs. Personally, to me, success is peace of mind and my client satisfaction. That's all.
Well said. Milind?
Success to me is like if the client has selected you for his project, dream house, dream villa, or any kind of project. You shouldn't make him feel down. You should make sure like whatever he has selected, it was his right selection. That way, and you should make sure like at the end of the day he should be happy as he has selected you.
Excellent. Manish?
Intangible success to me is the satisfaction of knowing that I have helped somebody to realize their dreams. If I have designed their house or office, whatever. And success to me is when any of my clients, when he occupies the new space, whichever designed by me, and the very first day he calls me up and he says, you have made my dream come true. So that is success for me.
Great. Milind?
Intangible success for me, because just we are doing this each project. I want to keep each and every client happy. If client is happy, that's my achievement or something.
So again, it's a lifelong process.
Yeah, lifelong project. It's never stop.
Okay.
It never stop. Keep going.
Next question, I'll go to Milind. Milind, honestly, are you in this for money? Like after you achieve your financial aims, goals, then you will start experimenting with your work. Then you might start refusing projects which you are not happy with or you don't like the clients. Or money doesn't matter to you. And even today, you refuse projects which you are not comfortable with or you don't like the client or the project. Even today you experiment with your work.
The money matters a lot. That's a basic need. We are into profession. We have to fulfill our some few requirements. That is the main bottom line. But at the same time, I refuse projects at this moment also. I have not gone to that level. Like if I will get successful, then I will refuse the projects. See, if you are not comfortable with the client, then there is no point going ahead because you are going to abuse the project. The project output is not going to happen what you wish like. So there is no point if you are not comfortable with the client, you should stop that moment of time, irrespective of the amount of money, amount of fees you are getting from that project. That's what I think.
Ashish?
Basically, there is no question of refusing project. If I'm not, I'm successful or not, it doesn't matter with the refusal, definitely, because I haven't. I'm not practicing because I am after money. Okay, so it's definitely it's a high when you design a project, and success will not be the thing with which I will select or reject the project, and money is definitely not. Right now, everybody is after money to work and to get the project, but if at all there is something which will definitely lead to something which is not satisfactory to me, or rather the right solution to the project, I will refuse in that circumstance only. Otherwise, definitely work is welcome from everywhere, and if I'm getting right kind of money and I'm giving right kind of solution, definitely I'll be there. And uh, it might be a situation also where I'm not getting the money, but I want to design certain project, so I'll be there. So it's money or my high for design. That's it.
Atulya, the same question to you.
Honestly, I have refused projects, but not because of money. It's because where my design sensibilities have been challenged. So I am actually from very humble background. It's not like I am carrying lots of money, but it's because of design. So if design gives you satisfaction, then only it happens. Otherwise,
Nicely put. Sushil,
Yeah, money is important, but the comfort is more important on both sides. It cannot come at the cost of comfort. Like, there are certain projects which I have done without even taking any money. So, and there are projects which I have rejected. So it's all about comfort.
Kushal,
I think that basically there are two types of satisfaction. One is a job satisfaction and another is a monetary satisfaction. So we definitely work for 100 square feet also today. So there the fee structure, if you would say, it is very nominal fee structure. But there we are getting job satisfaction. So we personally, I take decisions on ki am I able to develop a comfortable zone with the client? Is the project worth doing it, right? After that it comes ki what is the budget of the project. We have never left the project just because of the budget of fee structure till today. But yeah, money is important. 100% money is, because when you charge, you respect yourself also. When you charge a fee, you know that you are being paid for your time. We don't have any product to sell out. So what time we are investing, it should be paid.
Abhijit,
I wouldn't be modest. I'm here, means we work, everyone work here for money. If anybody is not working for money, I feel that he doesn't value his money. It's my personal code. Then secondly, I have rejected some projects based on the repeated clients which often comes, which I wasn't comfortable working with them.
Manish,
Well, money is important, certainly important, but it's not everything for me. As Sushil said, I very much agree. Comfort level is very much important. So I have also filtered few opportunities if the project it's not best suited to me, the scope of work or the scale, whatever. So I have filtered few opportunities.
okay. Vishal, the same question goes to you.
Same thing. Money means that is not the part. As we say, the job satisfaction is important, or whatever we are giving to our client. If we are able to give them, then we do accept the projects, and the wavelength of client and our wavelength that should match our design philosophy and their liking. That should match. I have rejected projects. Some of the projects where client had some XYZ demand, and it was not logical at all. How can we go? Or they come with some images and they say, we have seen this and now we want like this. And then why you want architects? You can do it by yourself.
I'm sure everybody's experienced such kind of.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Yeah. Milind,
Without money, nothing will happen. You have to run your office, everything, that's right? Your personal things and everything. So, but the thing is that if the client, so many projects I refuse, just not because of money, but the client attitude or so many things. If you suggest some design or something, or he telling you, you're teaching you something. So, but what's your just
okay. Thank you so much. This was an interesting round. Kushal, you want to add something? You want to come in? Yeah.
I feel from many years we are following one thing. Whenever a client comes to us, we finalize the plan and everything. And when commercial are going to be finalized, so once we sit on the table, we have quoted 200 rupees square feet, 300 rupees square feet, whatever amount we finalize is over there. We make a mark that after finalization, that amount should not play into our minds when we are working on that project. So that is the most important thing. Once we have said yes, then we have to work for the best thing.
Interesting attitude and very good approach. Absolutely. Next question, Kushal, comes to you only.
Yeah.
Now you are at a juncture. In fact, all of you are at a particular juncture in your careers. What is that one advice, the most important advice, which you think you should have got before you started your career or before you began your individual practice, but you were never told about?
See, I'll answer this question other way, Amit. After my education, I worked for 2 years in Mumbai. After that, I worked 5 years in one of the architect firm in Pune. So, at very earlier stage when I just got passed out. That time, one of my teacher had told me that take a good experience. Many things are there that you have to learn from others' mistake. When you start your office at a very early stage, many mistake you learn on your own shoulders, right? So that 7 years what I have worked, I've seen most of the mistakes, what things should not be done and what things should be done. And after that, we have started our own studios. So when we started our own studio, that time also we were associated with those firms. So it was a total of a big journey. I would suggest that no one should really start their studios at very early stage after just taking a year's experience and they started their studio. So there are many issues at that time.
Ishal, the same question to you.
Yeah, the same thing. The experience is very important. Means I was told on day one that you should have that experience.
Any
So
particular
I had-
advice which you didn't get and now you feel ki I should have been told this, it would have helped me more early on.
Maybe one advice that you should go out of Pune and practice somewhere. So you have that exposure also. Different things, how they are worked around there. Maybe say Delhi or Bangalore. You can have that experience. Maybe I think I missed those advice, which I thought during our training program, I should have got that. So I should have tried to go to some different place and try and adapt their things, how they think, how they work. So that is the thing, Anis.
Abhijit?
One advice I would have got earlier, I repented. It's not the case today, but it's being a long time I've started my practice. But at a very early age, someone should have advised me, don't advise for free. Because people take it for granted. They take advice from you, take designs from you, and they execute it. That makes your work.
Say no to free design,
Yeah.
even at
Yeah.
early stages.
That makes your work worthless.
Absolutely. Yes, Sushil.
Actually, at early stage, like when you start your career, someone has to advise that you should follow your heart. What happens is it becomes like a rat race. What your other classmates are doing in life, then you start following that. There is more money here and there, and you leave your heart behind. So basically, you have to follow your heart. That advice. Initially, in my career, I did the same. I was doing pretty good in some place, and just because my other classmates are earning more, I left that. I came back here, and then I repent. So
Manish, the same question to you.
Actually, I guess Kushal said everything for me. Still, I like to repeat. Because of certain circumstances in life, I had to start my practice immediately after graduation. I worked hardly for 1 year with one firm in Pune and I started on my own. Now, looking back 25 years, now I feel that time someone should have told me that Manish, you have to take proper experience, maybe 4 to 5 years, work with some established firm and then start on your own. It would have shortened that practical learning phase for me. I have learned everything on my own later on, but it had taken more time, I guess. I would have learned it in any office in a shorter period.
Milind?
When I passed out, there was like we used to follow our seniors. Seniors used to say, "Ki, come on!" Like I passed out from Nagpur University. They advised me come to Delhi there are some good companies, MNCs, you will get good money and good job exposure also. So I worked there for 3 years. Those MNCs were mainly into corporate interiors and very less architectural projects. So now today I regret the advice which I would have got. So before starting my practice, I would have got advice to work in hardcore architectural firm because architecture is must. See, interior you start practicing the first day you will get one job for like one kitchen you will do. Eventually it will follow 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, bungalow, villas, everything. But architectural you can't see you can do it yourself, but it's not that easy. It is very painful. If you get good advice, a good firm to work with, then your foundation is very strong and things are very much clear for you in future. So that advice I'll regret.
Excellent. Abhi, you want to come in?
I would differ against Milind. Okay, architecture is difficult and interior is easier. That is not the case. Interior do require skills and the basic experience.
I'm not saying about difficult and easier. See, for me, being an architect, that's what I'm saying. See, architects, being an architect, there is an advantage. I can do architectural projects and interior projects. But you can't go for architectural projects because of some technical norms and see, I am.
So you're talking in terms of architecture.
Yeah.
If
That's
you're-
what I am not. I was say when I started a project practice, a few projects came to me for say bungalows or architectural firms, but that time technical glitches were there for norms, bylaws, sanctioning. So I was not very much sure whether I will able to handle it or not. So I certainly said no, and I was very much happy and busy with my interior projects. I remember those time when I was working within 1.5 year. Like I shouldn't say all this thing, but within 1.5 year, I did 40 apartments in one premises only. That was my complete routine, going there, coming back evening. So I was very much fixed into it. So I was not looking what is happening everywhere. But when I look back now, I really count myself how many architectural projects we have really done. So it's like now few of nice projects I'm doing. That is my like clients are like believing me that way. But initially when you start practicing, if you don't have a nice proper soundproof like foolproof architectural experience, then you lack something. You don't have that confidence to deal with immediately.
So,
I'm telling purely about architectural projects.
of course, I got it. So interesting that you feel any architect who also wants to do interior design as a career must work with both firms or one particular firm which does both verticals.
Absolutely. There should be a proper balance. You are fortunate enough, then you are getting architectural projects which will eventually turn into interior projects, obviously. Now, like Manish is doing, he mainly does bungalow projects. Eventually, he does interiors for the same. Even we are doing nowadays the same practice, but in the start of our career, like we are getting only apartment, repeated projects. There was no fun of.
So this exposure was not there.
So we like getting a good exposure in architectural firm. That was missing from my side.
Excellent. Milind?
Experience matters. Without experience, then you can't achieve or you can't get this. But so. My advice is that when you pass out, please go with a good firm and you can take at least 4-5 years experience. Then you can start your own business.
Next question will go to Ashish first. Ashish, what's your trick? What makes your projects likable to your clients?
Basically, I try to listen to the client and study his or her liking into it. So, and I try to adapt what they are saying. So whenever I'm designing for that particular person. So that person sees his input or his requirement fulfilled by me. So it's not my design for me. It's my design for the client. So it's very easy for me to like satisfy the client in that way, and definitely it's a trick.
Let's say there is no trick as such. So once you have that project, I try to understand client, their lifestyle, their family, and then I upgrade their lifestyle basically, and then I execute it. So I don't think so there is any trick.
Okay, so I'll put it another way. Which is the most important factor which contributes to your success according to you at work?
To satisfy client. Yeah. So I understand their requirements, then I execute it accordingly.
But now that is what all architects and designers are supposed to do. So you're
Yeah.
doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So why certain architects or designers are not that successful, and why why are you all successful? So what is that one point? Any X factor?
So you need to understand the client basically. So once you understand it, you can enhance your design, you can upgrade them, you can explain them why you are designing it, why you want them to upgrade. So according, if you do that, if you are successful in that, you get
Okay.
work.
So you enhance the lifestyle of your client. That's your motto.
Absolutely.
Okay.
For me, very frankly, I feel that be loyal to your work. My loyalty towards my work and hard work is the most important that client is witnessing throughout the journey, basically. As rightly said by Ashish, that just don't entertain their fantasy. When you know something is not right, stop there. Just don't yes में yes करते जाओ and then you say नहीं, you wanted so I did it. This is a wrong. So whenever they want something and we feel as a consultant that this is not the right thing, we should stop them. Definitely respect their liking. Don't be a dictator. But at the same time, at the end of the project, he should feel that whatever consultancy I've received is value to money and it is better for me. What I was thinking was not exactly what I wanted. See, we can vision some things much better than them. So when they demand, we need to understand that is it a genuine demand or it is not a genuine demand.
Absolutely. Do you also think that, as Atula said, or that working to the T, to their brief, give them exactly what they want, which is practical on basic fundamentals of design? Do you also think I should give something more than which they have not envisioned, but I would like to give something? Does that happen?
That thing, I feel that we need to take them into a confidence. When we meet client during first month of the journey of the project, we understand how much this client is believing us, how much he's trusting us. Once we get a confidence that yes, he's trusting us, what vision we are expecting. For example, raw work, raw concrete. Many people feel that this is an incomplete job. So when we share ideas and we get some responses from them which we know that this is not going to work with him, then we should not ego nahi pakad ke rakhna chahiye. Then we start giving options to them, and when we understand that this client is understanding our style, then pull him slowly and get to the point that you really wanted to. You cannot open everything. I think 3Ds are criminal today, I feel personally, because everyone are doing it. Everyone are doing it, client, but sometimes it loses the surprise factor of that. Some things are not seen that naturally in 3D, and they just misinterpret the feel of that work when we show something which is not going to be seen in that way. So we generally do mock-ups. We show in a 3D and then we try to mock up things of that same material so they can feel the material basically.
So do you do 3Ds because clients demand now? They are
it is a trend right now. I'll use that word. But again, from 10 clients, for 4 of them we are doing. 6 of the client who trust us, we tell them keep that surprise factor. But we take an effort that he is understanding the 2D drawings. Once the 2D drawings are done, after that everything is marked out on site. Whatever things are marked out, उसके कच्चे ढांचे बन जाते हैं. Everything is mocked up, and we explain them. Just see, we have a vision. In 3D, everything is superficial. Everything looks fine, right? But when those things are carried out on site, they don't like it. This is the experience, because what 3D was talking, it is not going to talk, na. So you have to really get the actual material. When I say exposed sheet, exposed concrete, I need to show them that this is the exposed feel. And there we understand from their reaction, what is the reaction, is he really confident with this material, and then hallu we grab them into our styles actually.
Every project is a journey. So at the beginning, you have to be a good listener. So once the client approaches you, you have to listen to all his design briefs and understand the client, and only then you can start thinking about the project. And during the course of the project, you can make client aware about whatever is in your mind, and then you find a fine line between, that is how it should go.
According to me, there are no such tricks. It's the client's confidence and trust on you. And whenever the project is successful, I think so, is the like-minded people's coming together that makes the project successful, and your wavelength should match with the client. Otherwise, there are many options for the client to work with, but the project, why you are doing the project? Because you are going good with the client, and client also knows what you are explaining and what he'll get out of that.
So, what is that one thing you feel is your X factor? Why do the clients like your work? Your
Because many of the time I have noticed that our wavelengths match. Whatever I am trying to tell him in maybe it's my imagination, but I have to put it in front of him. So only like-minded people can understand that.
So people are of all kinds. So all kinds of people become like-minded with you. That means your
Then only the
communica-
project is successful. There are many projects which we have done, but they are not successful.
So you feel a designer should also have good communication skills
Obviously,
to explain his
obviously,
ideas.
obviously.
Everybody
In terms of design, he should have a good communication skill. That whatever you're going to do, you should present it.
We need to educate client. Once and only if we are able to educate them what they want and how we are going to achieve that, then only that project can be successfully done. If you are not able to, we are not able to educate them ki what their means requirement is and how how we can execute those things, then it doesn't become that perspective which we have thought and what is being executed. Because client feels something different, we are talking on different lines, then it doesn't happen. We need to educate them because we need to do that.
Manish?
I don't think I have any particular trick for this. What I feel is, if you respond well to the client in terms of his requirements, his or her requirements, budget, taste, and put your heart into designing, and you come out with a good design, the project becomes likable.
First, to understand this client's chemistry or I'm not saying that chemistry, but it's liking and all. First, we provide as soon as client come, we discuss and we provide in one layout or something, right? After that, before making this designing and everything, we personally I take some more time with the client. I spend more time with the client to understand his choice, his color, everything. So too easy to make as per his requirement, as per his choice or something.
So apart from your brilliant design skills, you focus on the person, the client
Exactly,
as the person.
exactly. Yeah,
You
because he is going to use that thing.
So the more the client communicates his needs with you, the more he becomes friendly with you.
Yeah.
It's easier to give him what he wants.
Yes.
So as far as the trick is concerned, no trick as such, but when we try to deliver the project to client, I make sure in the process of the work, as there is some of the clients we come to approach to us, they said we have a very tight budget, and it's our duty to give them a best output in a tight budget. So that surprise element we keep with us. We say your budget was very this much, but we have, so end of the day they realize, boss, our budget was very less, but he has given the output which is more realistic and which is more equivalent to our budget.
That's why they keep coming back to you.
Mostly.
Okay. Interesting. Next question, we will go to Abhijit. Abhijit, did you ever feel like giving it all up? You felt frustrated, you lost patience, you felt like quitting this profession and starting something else?
Never in my dreams, because from the first day I knew that this is the only field where I can do something or succeed. Because I eat, sleep, breathe, drink, design only. Because apart from that, I don't think so I would have done anything better apart from interior design.
Okay. Ashish, the same question. Did you ever feel like quitting this profession, frustrated, that weak moment when something goes wrong, nothing is going your way, and so you feel I'll just give it up, lost patience, and thought of something else?
Every morning. Every morning, I think. but after that there is nothing to do. That's why. And in our profession, we are dreaming for somebody else. So end of the day, it happens. Whatever I want to buy, I get the joy of buying it, but definitely not using because it's not my money. So I get that high for buying it. If I'm suggesting that, I know that I cannot afford myself, but if he's affording me, then I should buy it for him. So it's a like treat for me. So
Absolutely, superb. Kushal,
Frankly, no. I love my work and I've been doing
you
it.
never felt like doing
No,
it.
no, 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 no. See, it is not a work.
Y'all both should have morning tea together. Y'all will convert each other to your this.
I definitely, he must be joking actually. He's a superb designer.
Of course. Manish,
Well, everybody has ups and downs, difficult times, odd times. I have always been a fighter. I have faced many odd times. But I never thought of giving up. Because since my childhood, I dreamt about architecture only, of being an architect. And I can never think of any other profession because it's a passion rather than a profession for me.
Milind,
Never thought like that. Never. Because I'm passionate about this work, and plus after work, I have another passion also to roam around and everything. So I get fresh. So every day I love to work this.
Sushil,
Not really. I mean, till the time I'm alive, I'll do architecture. So
Atulya.
Yeah, I lose patience. I lost patience many times. I got frustrated many times, but next day again back
So how
on
do
track.
you handle that mindset when it happens?
So, see, I do many other things. Like I do photography, I do some sketching. I just, divert my attention to somewhere else. So then next morning again you are fresh and you can start your work because that is what I like and that is what I am going to do.
Okay. Milind,
It used to happen in early days of our practice when you pitch a lot for any of the new project and you spend days, nights working, making drawings because those projects are some prestigious projects you work for, you try for. And even because of some silly reasons, you didn't get the chance to work on those projects. So it used to happen in earlier days, but now we are mature enough to get rid of it.
excellent. Vishal, the same question to you.
No, I have never thought of quitting architecture or leaving my profession. I love my work doing. I've got frustrated of a particular project, maybe we can say, no, I don't want to do this now. But the next day we say, no, that it is going to happen, that is his requirement. We again do match up. But leaving the profession, I have never given a thought of leaving the profession. I love my work. I love
How
doing
do you
architecture.
handle your work pressure?
Divert ourselves, have some, we play, we go for sports, and then just try to divert things, listen to music, and we can get diverted. Bas, we have to not think about that.
Okay.
The next day is a new day now.
Okay. Atulya, the next question comes to you first. Tell me one thing. Do you consciously keep circle of people around you who can tell you on your face you're wrong? Who can point out your mistakes? Who can tell you are an idiot?
I actually don't do that, but they are like that. Anyway, your friends are life, so whatever they say, they do it for good. So,
Okay. Sushil,
there is no conscious efforts to have such circle around. There are people around who keep saying this. So keep criticizing or not criticizing, but kind of guiding, you can say. They are guidance.
so it's welcome. You are happy with this.
Yeah.
Do you also get criticized? Have you ever been criticized for your work other than this circle?
Yeah.
How do you handle criticism?
I mean, yes. You feel bad, but then you try to do. I mean, if it is convincing that the criticism is valid, then you try to improve upon in the next project. Otherwise, okay, thought and left it.
Okay. Ashish, do you consciously keep a circle of people around you, or not a circle, some people around you who can tell you you're an idiot or who can point out your mistakes on your face, tell you you're wrong when you're wrong?
See, I'm practicing with my childhood buddy Purva. So it's definitely a healthy criticism from me to her and her to me. So it's always there. Be consciously being in profession as partner, and it is definitely welcome. And criticism is coming from whom, that matters most. Criticism can come from a client's friend or his chacha mama, then I definitely handle it the way I want to. But if it is coming from some person who is really meaning something progressive, so it is definitely helpful for me. So criticism is welcomed from a person who is having some knowledge of my design, my project, or something like that.
Okay. Milind?
I am myself a own critic of myself, so I don't require anyone else surrounding me. When we hand over any of the project, we make sure to have checklist of few points whether we have done right or wrong. So eventually we make sure if I found some points we didn't do it in this project, that means we didn't give our 100%. That way I make sure to criticize myself.
Okay. Manish?
I don't think I have to appoint anybody for this because my family does it very well, and they are good critics. Always like to show my mistakes, and I take it in a positive way.
You're lucky. Milind?
Critics depend upon who is going to tell. If it's a friend, that's welcome or welcome. But client, so we will take as a serious note to this. It should not happen again or something like that.
Okay. Kushal?
Yeah, we both, I and Vishal run our office in same studio, same roof. So every time when we are doing something new and we are not very 100% sure, so we try to discuss those designs. We try to discuss some materials together, and we try to after it is executed, it is done well, and we don't receive criticism later. We try to take it before. How much we have to work on paper, 10 times we change it in office. We discuss with a team also. Basically our assistant designers are there, so we take the advices. My wife is also a designer, she also talks into it, so there is lots of discussion prior. And when we feel that this is not going well, there are many points coming out of it, then we try to rectify it, and then we try to present it to
So in
client.
your brainstorming, if your junior points out a mistake
It's
and
a part
you
of a process, sir. You
so
have
you
to
accept it.
You
There's
have to
no-
see. He's a designer. There may be a difference of experience technically, but not vision-wise, right? They are working with us from last 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, so they know that what taste we have developed, and at last, after everything comes to us, we are the decider that what we have to incorporate and what we can let go. He's not understanding that part right now.
Does this happen with all of you? You accept suggestions from your juniors, and sometimes they point out mistakes. Is that so? You all maintain a healthy atmosphere in your office where even a junior can tell you that you are wrong.
Many
sometimes.
times they teach us, sir. Many times we have followed principally we are doing like this, so we do like that. Sometimes there is an idea from them, and then we think, why not in this way also? So it is a process. It is there should be a healthy discussion in your office, right? So there many problems are solved.
Excellent. Abhi?
Yeah, I personally feel criticism or critics is a very important role in your life. Why? Because they helps you in improving your mistakes or whatever backlogs you have. So criticism should be there, and one should accept it open-mindedly.
Okay. Vishal?
I think it is the most important thing. You should have criticism with you. Now, I have my wife. She's also academic. She's my best friend. She was my best friend. So it helps us a lot to achieve the desired thing. I mean, she guides me, or we have a healthy discussion in every design. Means we do have a discussion, and then only we finalize some things. So there are many times different perspective of approaching a project. So that is not missed. Or means sometimes I am feeling "No, this is only the best thing." So there should be criticism. No, this cannot be the best. This can also happen. So it helps in improving design, achieving some different things. Things can be changed. You have different perspective of thinking also. You are not stuck in the same line or not stuck in the same design philosophy that we are following. You need some different track. So I think it is important. You need a criticism around you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Ashish, the next question goes to you first. Which is the biggest, honestly, which is the biggest lie you ever told to a client in your career?
Every day. Design is ready, circle mil jayega. So it happens like that, like to manage certain things, you need to keep the show on. So it happens. And if I'm lying for taking more time or less time or whatever, or expediting the designing process, I do lie.
And it's for their own good.
Yeah, definitely.
You're
My
taking
good
more
also.
time for, yeah.
My good
Yeah,
also.
very
So
frank.
it is giving me like a deadline, and I do work good with deadline.
Very candid, very frank.
Yeah, I have lied to the client many times. Like whenever they ask meaning for when they give a feedback call, I keep saying that yeah, it's under process, and where I haven't even started the designing. I haven't even started the thought process. But then subconsciously there is something going on. So it is not total lie, but yeah, nothing on paper as such.
Yeah, same thing. Means we are starting with the process. Yeah, it's done. We will hand over the drawing set in 1 week or so. But one thing I think everyone does is, yeah, we'll reach in 15 minutes. I have just left the office and I'll reach there in 15. Whereas I am at some different place and I'll still need half an hour to reach, and I'll say, no, I am on the way only on this signal. I'll reach in 10 minutes. That's the lie I think everyone tells.
Most of the client expect that all the designs are been generated a minute later our discussion. So they sir हो गया क्या भेजते हो क्या? तो ना हाँ sir भेजता हूँ.
In terms professionally, I never lie. But to some certain cases, some clients, financially I lie. There are some problems. Because I know that once the project is finished, he'll take time to give me my money. So I have to lie sometime that there are financial problems. You pay me my fees first.
It's about timeline only. I mean, ये 3.5 महीने में हो जाएगा, but it never happens. I mean, it because of site situation, because of client, because of money, something else. So it happens. So
Last question. It goes to Sushil. Sushil, do you think Indian clients are now maturing towards good design?
Actually, it's two-way. What we architects are, we represent society's aspiration and all, and vice versa. It's our duty also to educate the clients. So, as far as Indian clients, if you are asking me, it is like, are we as architects maturing? So it is both. We go together.
Ashish?
Clients are becoming Pinteresting nowadays. The thing is that there is bad exposure that can, like, they are getting it on their fingertips, and it's so easy, and they can dictate, they can manipulate few things after finalization of design also, because like it's polluted, like the design pollution is going on. Everybody can reach, everybody can search, everybody can get unnecessary knowledge about certain things. It's happening. So
So it irritates you.
a lot. Come on, near something you are finalizing few plans, but it will not look the way the Pinterest or any other social media is showing, and those photographs are doctored. Like, it will not, when you see a certain photograph on a social media, and your next day you are visiting the same site or same restaurant, it will not look the way it was looking in that particular photograph. And they are like having that perception in their mind that it is like this and we want like this, and plan is saying something different what you have finalized, and the elevation or the photograph is different altogether. So it's polluted.
It's putting unnecessary pressure on
Definitely.
architects and designers.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay. Atulya, are Indian clients maturing to good design?
yeah, they are. I mean, they move around the world physically, socially. They explore media. So certainly they know what they want exactly. So while even approaching any designer or architect, they know what exactly they want.
And
So-
they research whom to give the work.
absolutely,
also.
yes. So it's kind of easy for the consultant that what he can cater or how he can start with. So I
But
think they're
then,
maturing.
along with the ease, it also puts pressure on you to.
Yeah, but at least you get certain starting point that you can start from this.
So
and then
you
can
welcome
develop.
this
Yes,
change,
absolutely,
this
absolutely.
maturity.
Yes.
Okay. Abhi?
There is a huge acceptance in Indian clients as far as the design is concerned. Since everybody is traveling globally, people are aware, and internet is also easy medium. So clients are very well aware that what they want, and they can not exactly, but they say that we would love to have our house or apartment or a restaurant like this. It's not bad, but they have a huge acceptance.
Okay. Milind?
Clients are having lots of expectations from us because of the exposure they are getting globally, at the same time from the available media, as is it Pinterest, etc. But it's our duty to educate them what is going to look best at their place. Unnecessarily, see what is happening nowadays. Before we send design to a client, they send 10 designs to us. Is it possible for me? Is it possible for us? So we have to filter those process. We have to tell them your place is like this, so much big, so small. So only let us send a design, then we'll finalize. So before taking, so they are maturing enough, but at the same time they are confusing themselves and us also. So it's our duty to filter and tell them what is possible and what is best suited for them.
Perfect. Vishal?
Same thing. There are positives and negatives of the exposure also. Nowadays, all clients are roaming around. They have the social media sites, and both have their positives and negatives. Sometimes it's easier to explain the client because he has seen around the world, and sometimes it is difficult to convince them that this cannot happen. You are showing us all these things. This cannot fit in. So we need to educate them. But somehow, in some cases, it is also easier to convince the client. Yeah, this is the kind of thing which we can do. It is helping the client. They are getting educated about it.
But you would have preferred a scenario where the client tells you their needs and then
Yeah.
just leaves it to you.
Definitely. Not this social media thing should be cut off. I personally think that seeing exposure is a different thing, and going through social media and seeing thousand options is a different thing. So that is the main thing which is hampering all design process and everything in this scenario.
Milind?
Now every client is educated or something. Some clients or some clients, both sides are there. But it's nowadays it's easy to understand the client's taste or something. If he showed some design, some kind of this, okay, see. It's easy to explain also this, boss, this is not good for your. I'll go with this kind of design, but not same this, like that one.
Manish?
I guess good design is a relative term. It depends on the taste also of the client. Social media or Pinterest or whatever. Nowadays, everybody comes with images ready with them about their taste and all, and it becomes easy for me to understand their taste and design accordingly and go ahead with the project.
Okay. Kushal?
Yeah, definitely clients have become very smart these days. They can very systematically and professionally put on their requirements. Problem is when they start dictating through certain reference image, and where we don't like it, and then we bring them back to the journey that we started day one, what concept we had started, and we drag them again there, and then we make them understand that this is not good for the project, or we don't want to do this in that way.
Excellent. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for being so candid, bearing all, sharing so honestly your inner thoughts, views, opinions. And once again, big thanks. Thank you so much. Let me clap for all of you.
stereo stylus in this groove.